I coded a Vinted bot that buys all the clothes posted at too low a price to resell them for more. And for 3 weeks, I received tons of clothes that I was able to ship out very quickly thanks to packaging and a label printer. It's a business I've always wanted to try. And it's talked about in the press, on social media, or even on TV. For example, Capital followed 2 French guys who made 20,000 euros in revenue per month. They were renting their first office, all thanks to this kind of automated bot. But is it really that profitable? And do we just have to reship packages bought and resold by our bot to make money? These are the questions we're going to try to answer. And to go all the way, a professional will judge the results we get at the end of the video. To understand what's coming next, I'm going to take a simple and very concrete example because it's one we've actually had. Imagine someone just posted an ad on Vinted. It's a nice Ralph Lauren shirt in good condition, medium size, for only 14 euros. If you search for a similar item on Vinted, you'll see that on average, this kind of clothing sells for more, usually between 30 and 80 euros, so the price is too low. So the idea is to buy it, receive it, take better photos of the shirt, and then resell it for 2 to 3 times the price. Even if we sell it quickly for 30 euros, we'll still double our investment easily. This is a classic buy and sell business found in many fields. We didn't invent anything new. What's new on Vinted is the use of bots, and many people have taken advantage of this. As a result, finding good deals has become much harder. Success depends on finding and buying the right offer before others. To move fast and cast a wide net, there's nothing better than building a bot. A bot can perform hundreds of searches per minute and buy in under 10 seconds. Most importantly, it works for us and requires little effort. It's satisfying to set up and watch, though there's one detail. Before we start, I have to remind you that Vinted's terms and conditions strictly forbid the use of bots. Well, it makes sense, right? I could argue that resellers like us help regulate prices by bringing them in line with the market. In reality, it reduces the chances for regular customers to find good deals, and so it impacts the user experience. That's why they're very vigilant and easily ban suspicious accounts. And that's something we'll face later, you'll see. That's why I strongly advise you not to try what I'm going to do, especially since bypassing security systems can even become illegal in some cases. That being said, for our investigation, I started creating the base for Route, our Vinted bot, and to avoid being detected as a bot, Route will mimic human behavior. With this Python code, it's able to launch a Chrome instance using Playwright. It can open the Vinted.com URL and browse it as if it were a human. Vinted is convenient because you can search for new offers without logging in. See, I can already view them. It's convenient, not because bots struggle to log in, but because our account won't be banned for making many searches per minute. I coded a simple loop where the bot will iterate through a list of saved searches to scan for new offers. The question now is, what should we search for if we want to find good deals? And that's a question I'll answer in the next step because a pro gave me some advice. Yeah, I don't know anything about clothes, I'm just a geek. For each search, the code retrieves all the HTML code from the page, loops through each item, and filters them according to a set of criteria that we've also predefined. We just coded a scraper, a bot that collects data. Remember, scraping a site without permission is forbidden. The subtle point at this stage is that if our scraper bot finds a good deal, it's not the one that's going to buy it. It will call on another bot. I coded a second bot that runs on a different server, which works in exactly the same way. The code is very similar. The difference is that this one is actually connected to a Vinted account, and more specifically to my Vinted account, so I hope we don't get banned. And this one will only take care of buying the items. Anything involving a credit card is a bit risky. The idea of separating the two, as you might guess, is for 2 reasons. First, it's to limit the chances of getting my account banned. Our scraper will make many requests to Vinted and could get banned, but since it's not linked to an account, only its IP might be banned, which isn't a big issue. I'm not going to give you the details because bypassing a computer system is illegal, but you can easily change your IP. And the second reason why we don't just create multiple accounts is because it would be too suspicious to create a new account. The advantage of my account is that it's already several years old, so it may seem less suspicious. Still, I don't want to get banned. The final step after buying automatically is to resell automatically, and speed isn't as important for that. I'll do it manually, but remember, I could have automated it. Now we just need to find the best filters for our bot to get the best deals. I won't pretend to know what I don't. I have no knowledge about this. At first, I let my bot run with obvious filters, meaning I put in some luxury brands like Ralph Lauren, Lacoste, Sandro, Off-White, but I quickly got spammed with products that weren't necessarily the most resellable. And that's when I got the idea to infiltrate professional circles to see what they were doing. I found this Discord server that brings together quite a few pros who use bots, and it wasn't that easy to find information. First, as you can see from the member count, there are many resellers. To make large margins with so much competition, you need to find your niche. For example, maybe there's someone who will focus only on 20th century silver rings. There are people like that. It's very niche, maybe he knows a lot about it and is able to spot what's valuable and what's fake so he can hope to make big margins. For obvious reasons, nobody wants to reveal their niche. But I ended up coming across this guy Arnotopia. He's a real professional. He started his company with some other friends to do this on a large scale. The guy is really nice and agreed to share some interesting niches with me. I'm showing you several, but there's a part he doesn't want me to share since that's how he makes a living. Especially since the clips I'm showing you come directly from his own bot that he uses, and that's actually why there's a real, somewhat professional interface. I got everything, and I reproduced it all in Route, my bot. I'm not telling you to copy these filters, they don't guarantee profits, but I'm confident. I think we're building a war machine. I'll finally launch my bot and start making repeated purchases. And we'll see Arnotopia again at the end of the video so he can judge the profits we've made. We're going to have to make some sales, because that adds a bit of pressure for me. First, I can show you how many purchases we've made in just a week. It happens so fast. I'm going to be overwhelmed with clothes when everything arrives, you'll see. I have a Discord server where Route sends me all the good deals he finds. There's a little twist compared to what I showed you. Route bought me a lot of junk, to be very honest. He bases his choices on certain criteria but doesn't see the clothes, so sometimes his picks are ugly and hard to resell. I changed it so now I confirm purchases with shopping cart emojis, but I have to act fast. As you can see, we have a lot of stuff. Basically, we're aiming for a margin between 50 and 100%. That means if we double or triple the price, we'll be happy. This piece of clothing, for example, I'm going to resell it at this price. This one I'll resell at this price. I also hope to resell this at that price. Here's a table of all our purchases from the first week. It's not much. I spoke with Arnotoka and we have a small problem. Fixing it lets us buy 3 times more and be 3 times more profitable. I'll show you soon. First, let's pick up those packages we just bought. I expected to get several packages, but only received the first one I ordered. Still, I'm happy with its quality. It's a nice piece of clothing and doesn't need ironing. I'm trying to do this experiment over a relatively short period of 1 month. Except on Vinted, when you buy a piece of clothing, the person can ship it several days after the purchase, so you might not receive it for a long time. I need the clothing to resell, wash, iron, and especially to take better photos. I use a technique to avoid waiting and save time. AI. Well, it's not great, I don't recommend doing this. Take real photos yourself when you receive the clothing. I used the original photos of the item, enhanced them by placing them on a hanger, and improved lighting with AI. I'll show some examples. They look impressive. It looks professional, and with our store, similar images will make it look even better. This allowed us to relist dozens of clothes for sale. So each time, we still analyzed the generated image in detail to make sure it wasn't misleading and that it matched exactly with the original photo. It was a bit of a hassle because as soon as there were any small blurs, we reworked the image to make sure it was really the right label, and especially because the goal is not to mislead the customer. We don't want to lie, we just want it to look more premium. Honestly, I promise you that we really try to be super careful with the AI photos because, well, I don't like doing this, but we don't have a choice with the deadline. And in this case, we let a mistake slip through. There was someone who pointed it out to us, who told us that the logo had changed position from one photo to another. It's okay, that's the only mistake we made, but we have to stay vigilant because otherwise our account could get banned. And so, in the case where I sold a piece of clothing and upon receiving it, I noticed there was a flaw, a hole, a stain, or even that it was counterfeit. It happens. Well, I would cancel the sale and the person would get a refund. I'd even accept the loss without a refund. All our offers are online now. Business is picking up with lots of nice notifications. It's so satisfying, I feel like a kid. Before I make more purchases or ship anything, I'll show you the reseller equipment I've bought. We're getting a lot in, so I hope I can sell it all. We'll need to make many trips like this to handle volume. That's usually all the work we do. Finding a box, printing a label, and packing everything can take 5 minutes. 5 minutes for dozens and dozens of clothes, we can't afford that. That's why I've already bought special boxes for clothes that shouldn't be wrinkled, plastic packaging in different sizes that will fit most clothes, and a thermal printer to print the shipping labels. Well, yeah, here we tested it on cat photos. We can print whatever we want. Believe me, we're ready to make a lot of sales. It's convenient since it's linked to Vinted. We just print, cut, and stick the label on the package. I can process everything in batches several times a week, and it only takes about 10 minutes. And then, all that's left is to go to a Vinted locker to ship everything in bulk. Everything could have gone that smoothly, but after the first 10 days, I had to make a big decision. I'm struggling to find interesting clothes. As I said, we're not spending enough. I've made a few sales and will share details when I discuss the results. Very cool, but to make enough money, I need more volume. The problem is my bot isn't fast enough. Someone warned me early on that building a bot yourself is very complicated. Most of the bots everyone uses are already highly optimized and will probably buy 10 times faster than us. I really want to give myself the best chance to get good results. So I made a big decision. We're dropping Route. For you, it won't change anything at all, so it's a paid bot. Plus, I have to enter my credit card details on there. I don't know how good this platform is, especially when it's so niche. Well, I used a virtual credit card. I don't necessarily recommend you do the same. I really don't know how reliable it is. I'm going to keep this running for 2 weeks and I'll get back to you to give you an update. Here's the amount of money I spent on clothes, and now I'm showing you all the purchases I made, which honestly is starting to add up. But that's a good thing, it means I managed to get more volume, all while staying pretty careful about what I wanted to buy. I'm super confident that I'll be able to resell this and at least double the price. Also, I can show you a bit of what I've received so far, but well, obviously that's not all. The thing about Vinted, you know, is that guys love to negotiate. Out of 10 offers, 9 of them try to negotiate, so well, sometimes I accept just to save time. But I admit that if I can sell at the price I set, that would be great. Like this one, at 75 euros instead of 84 euros, it's fine. I think in any case, we were doubling the price. For me, I'm lucky because the clothes I received don't seem to have any defects. We could have gotten stains, holes, or even ended up with counterfeits because we buy branded stuff, so the real problem I had was that I almost got my account banned several times. Basically, sometimes when I relist a clothing item, I want to keep some of the original seller's photos. For example, the tag. And apparently Vinted keeps a history of the photos posted on the platform and they gave me a warning. Some AI-generated photos had small blurry artifacts in certain areas. Despite our caution, Vinted still detected them and assumed they were counterfeit. Luckily, I wasn't banned, though it was close. If I do get banned, I'd have to start over and could lose my accumulated funds. By the way, how much did I earn after 3 weeks of buying and reselling? I'm going to show you my results table. We had some really great deals, like this one, or that one. The swimsuits honestly were a real hit for us. Makes sense, since summer is coming up. Some items I'm confident I can resell, so I included them in our earnings. I'll count the ones I'm unsure about as a loss. Here's the revenue I made. Spoiler, it's not all profit. Subtract the money I spent buying clothes to resell. Here's the result. You can see we usually doubled prices, which is good. Next, we remove clothes I couldn't resell, which lowers the result. Finally, subtract the VAT. I learned about that at the time. But since we're a company and we're selling as professionals, I have to collect 20% VAT on my margin and pay it back to the state. And that's not a mistake on my part, I really mean on my margin. When buying and reselling secondhand clothes, VAT applies only to your margin. This is good, because if our margin were under 20%, we'd lose money. Here is my final net result. And here's what the professional predicted we would earn. Honestly, it's not the business of the century, but we've already proven that there's a possible business here. If you know how to do better than others, you could potentially make a living from it. Now, once again, well, Vinted doesn't allow the use of bots. So I'm not encouraging you to try what you saw in this video. I did it so you wouldn't try to do it yourself. With that, this was Yan. Take care.